Okay, good morning, you guys. Today is Tuesday. It is September 15th. And we are officially halfway through September. Unbelievable. Okay, so we are starting with math, volume 1, our classwork workbook. Just like we've been doing the last few days, you're going to cut out 2 pages. So the 2 pages that you're cutting out today are 51S and 51U. So 51S and 51U, go ahead and pull those out and cut them out. And then, of course, just like always, get your vinyl folder, get your envelope, add your cards to your envelope, okay? And when you have free time, you can practice doing your multiplication and division flashcards, okay? So the next thing after you cut your cards out is we're working on page 66. Now, this probably looks a little overwhelming when you first see it. Overwhelming meaning like, what are we doing? There's a lot going on here. And you would be correct. There is a lot going on here. So just be patient with yourself. We're going to go through it together. I'm probably going to do 3 for you guys, and then only leave 3 for you to try on your own. Okay? So, multiplication properties and division rules. Properties and rules. So, property for 1. And this just means, what does this mean? It just means when we're multiplying by 1. Same thing for division rule of 1, when you're dividing by 1. 0 property is when you are multiplying by 0, what happens? Division rule for 0, when you divide by 0, what happens? And you probably already have kind of an idea based off of yesterday when you did all of your different practices with your zeros and your ones. You found some patterns here. Okay, so anytime, basically your property for 1 is anytime you multiply a number times 1, the product will be the other factor. Okay, so any multiplication problem that multiplies times 1, or we could say where one of the factors is the number 1, then the product will always be the other factor. So 1 times 6 equals 6. 6 times 1, of course, now that's the commutative property. We know that one. Times 1 equals 6. 1 times 5 equals 5. 5 times 1 equals 5. Okay? The division rule for 1 is similar. Anytime if your divisor or your dividend, actually no, that's not true. We would just say your dividend. If your dividend is 1, then you will have, your quotient will be the same as your divisor. Okay, so 8 divided by 1 gives me 8. 9 divided by 1 gives me 9. 5 divided by 1 gives me 5. 100 divided by 1 gives me 100. Now, the only time you'll have the quotient as 1 is when both your dividend and your divisor are the same. I'm going to say that one more time. The only time your quotient will be 1, which the quotient, remember, is the answer in a division problem, is when both your dividend and your divisor, both numbers in the problem, are the same. So 100 divided by 100 equals 1, because if I have 100 students, I have 100 cupcakes, everybody's getting 1. All right? All right, 0 property is exactly the same rule as your property for 1, except you're working with zeros. So anytime one of your factors in a multiplication problem is 0, your product is always 0. That makes life easy, right? Let me say it again. Anytime one of your factors in a multiplication problem is 0, your product is always 0, period. It could be 1 million times 0, your product is 0. You see a 0 in a multiplication problem, your product is a 0. Let me say it again. You see a 0 in your multiplication problem, your product is 0. Division rule for 0. Okay. Anytime you have 0 divided by a number, your quotient will be 0. You will not run into the problem of a number divided by 0 because it's impossible. Okay? So associative property of multiplication, associative. When you group factors in different ways, factors being the numbers in a multiplication problem, these are all factors, the product stays the same. The parentheses tell you which numbers to multiply first. So I would highlight this sentence. Okay? So in this, it's the same as with addition, you guys. We have associative property of addition. So we could say 3 plus 2 plus 5. It doesn't matter which two numbers we add together first. Your sum will always be the same. It's the same with multiplication. Multiplication and addition, they're best friends. Okay? They do a lot of things the same way. So the new thing that you need to learn is that your first two problems you're doing, or your first two factors you're working with, are within the parentheses. That's all you really, that's the only really new piece of information in this section, okay? So just like when we would do our math mountains, sort of, I'm going to go 3 times 2, that's going to give me 6. Now I can multiply it times 5, which will give me 30. 2 times 5, which will give me 10. I'll multiply it times 3, which will give me 30. Now, there's a few of you who have watched this, and you already know what to do. I would skip everything else I'm going to talk about, because I'm just going to go through these 3 problems slowly. So if you get it, go ahead. Don't watch the rest of what I'm saying. All right? All right. So with number 3, the first two numbers I'm going to multiply together are 6 times 1. And just because of my property for 1, I know that 6 times 1 equals 6. So now I'm going to go 2 times 6, which equals 12. Okay, I'm going to do it again. 4 times 2, I know gives me 8. And now I can bring in this times 2. 8 times 2 gives me 16. 1 times 5, I'm using my 0 property, right? Or, oh, I just said 0 because I was peeking at this one. Actually, so you know what? Let's work on this one. That way you have an example with the 0 property. So 0 times 7, of course, is going to give me 0, because anytime there's a 0 in a multiplication problem, your product is 0. Did you hear what I just said? Anytime there's a 0 in a multiplication problem, your product is 0. So already, like I've told you, your product is 0. All right? Okay, so number 9 says Sean gave 1 nickel to each of his sisters. If he gave away 3 nickels, how many sisters does he have? All right, I don't think you need my help with this. I think you guys can figure that out. Again, Sean gave 1 nickel to each of his sisters. If he gave away 3 nickels, how many sisters does Sean have? I'm not going to help you with that one. You guys can do it. Okay, so finish your word problems in your math. Volume 1 classwork book. And now we're going to do 1 page out of our homework and remembering, which is page 68. So we're turning to 68. All right, and you're just practicing your computation. I think by now we have a full grasp and understanding of what each one of the symbols mean for division and each one means for multiplication. So I'll just pick a few, okay? So let's see, 9 times 7. I know that 9 times 5 is 45. I know that 9 times 6 is 54. I know that then 9 times 7 is 63. So I started with one I knew and I went from there, okay? Let's see. 24 divided by what gives me 8? Or I could even say 8 times what gives me 24. And I'm going to do that one because that makes it easier for me. And I know that that should be a 3. All right. And remember, if you want to push yourself, you can say that 24 divided by 8 equals 3. And 8 times 3 equals 24. And 3 times 8 equals 24. Nice. We did all of our fact families there. Okay. So you do have an IXL assignment. I don't know what that is because I don't have it on my slide. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Math. Oh, yes. F1 and F.1, F.2. These are easy reviews from earlier in the school year. So you will find those to be, I believe, very easy. All right, next assignment. Next assignment is going to be reading. So today you get to choose. You may choose to either read the story or listen to the story. I have provided a link to be able to listen to the story. If you decide to listen to the story today, then on Thursday you read the story, and vice versa. If you decide to read the story today, then you just listen to it on Thursday. Okay, both days I will put the link to your story. Of course, we're in Unit 2. We're using our table of contents, so we're going straight to Homegrown Butterflies from Ranger Rick. I wonder how many of you know about Ranger Rick. It used to be a magazine. Probably still is, but I believe I got it when I was little. This is kind of like a science magazine, which you guys will be getting science magazines. I haven't told you that yet, but we have a subscription to science magazines, and you'll be getting them. You should be getting them your next pickup. Okay, so Homegrown Butterflies. You go ahead and make your predictions, read through. This one's different because is this fiction or nonfiction? And it definitely looks like it is nonfiction. We're reading about real butterflies. Kind of a shorter story than, oh, look at the caterpillars. Shorter story than last week, which is cool. Lots of locations that are in close proximity. San Diego isn't really close, but it is in the same state as us. So enjoy listening or reading this story. Today, I think you will learn something new for sure. All right. Or like I said, you can listen to it. And then you are going to be completing page 85. So 85, and we will review this during our Zoom, you guys, just like always. I will review what you need to do here. So they do give you prompts, though. That's what I want to say. So if you're like, hey, I'm ready to do this, I don't want to wait for you, Miss Rudolph, and you want to practice drawing your conclusions, what you can do is this, you guys. Every time there is a question, that's when you want to go back to your workbook and answer it for one of your clues. All right, so what kind of person is Brent Davies, and how do you know? So you would fill that in for clue 1. So what I can do is I'll put the page numbers actually. Okay, so page 197 is where your first clue is going to come from. All right. Now, let's see. Okay, there's another dialogue box or a question box where we have to draw a conclusion. So on page 200, answer that question in this box. And then, ooh, there's not anymore. Did I miss one? Let me see. 200, 197. Nope. So if you can choose any other clue that may help you with drawing a conclusion when you get to the end. I just want to make sure. 197. Didn't miss anything here. 200. Okay, so maybe when you read 202, 203, then just come up with a clue that will lead you to a conclusion. Okay? All right, you guys. So that's it for reading. Of course, hang on to this because we will be coming back to it, okay? For writing, we're going to be completing our first paragraph. You guys, we may stay in class a little bit longer to work on our class constitution. I was so proud of the different laws you all were talking about yesterday that you wanted to create. It was just really an awesome discussion. So I'm keeping my law. My law is that everybody has to own a dog because we had the SPCA come last year and they really showed us and taught us about overpopulation, which is a word that I want to use in my paper. Okay. So I wish there was a law that said everyone must own a dog. All right. I'm just writing my paragraph 1. Ready? So I go rough draft at the top, right? And I capitalize both the letters of my title. Today is 9/15. I'm going to put dots on every other line first because I want to have room to edit and revise when we get there. And we won't get to that phase until after our fall break, not spring break. All right, so of course, remember we have to indent. So maybe if you want to draw a little arrow, you can do that. Or some people like to just put their thumb, rule of thumb, and then you can start because that will give you your indentation. All right, so I wish there was a law that said everyone must own a dog. Do you know what, you guys? I messed up, but this is my rough draft, so that's okay. What I was supposed to do was start with a question, and my last sentence in this paragraph should be my main idea sentence. So, but that's all right. That's what the purpose of this is to be sloppy. So I'm going to say, Have you ever wondered about a problem in our society? We could say our community. Laws can be passed to help solve problems within our community. All right, so then I'm just going to draw an arrow, and I'll do that during revising too, because that's when it says is everything in order. So my revising is my main idea sentence is going to come down there, but it says, yeah, so really I want to start with this one. Have you ever wondered about a problem in our society? Laws can be passed to help solve problems within our community. I wish there was a law that said everyone must own a dog. Okay, I like it. I like it. So I'm looking for my crayons. I don't know where my crayons are. Oh, there's my crayons. I see them. Okay. And I'm going to match my outline with my main idea here in green. So there we go. Just like that. Okay. All right, you guys. So we are good to go on our writing. I think you do have an IXL assignment. We should be starting to move through these paragraphs pretty quickly. There will be a day, dun dun dun, where you will have to start doing 2 paragraphs every day. Sorry. But we're not there yet. So IXL T.5, you guys. IXL T.5. Now we're coming back for language arts. You have a new YouTube video. I know you watched one yesterday, but I found another one today just to reinforce your skill for the week. So do watch that video. And then you're going to turn to page 92. And you are going to change some more words to plurals, okay? I will help you with 1. I'm going to help you with 1, not 2, because there's only 6 problems, okay? All right, so up at the top, we can read it together, okay? It says, add S to form the plural of most singular nouns. Add ES to form the plural of singular nouns that end in S, SH, CH, or X. That's important. Important. I want to say all my syllables. Okay? ES if you end in one of those. And then to form the plural of nouns ending in a consonant and a Y. A consonant. Any letter that is not A, E, I, O, or U. If it ends in a consonant and a Y, then you drop the Y, bye-bye Y, and add IES. Hello, IES. Okay? All right, so let's see. Let's do one where you have to drop the Y, add IES, because in my opinion, that's the hardest one. So A says, on the lines below, write the correct plural version of the underlined nouns from the poster. So here we go. You might want to go through and highlight all of them if you want. But library, there's a consonant, an R with the Y, right? And it may even help you guys to like highlight the last letter or letters so that you draw attention to which ending you need to add to make that word plural, okay? So library, L-I-B-R-A-R, drop the Y, bye-bye Y, add I-E-S. That's how it would be spelled plural, libraries, okay? All right, and then it says number 5, it wants you to rewrite the paragraph on the poster using plural nouns. Make sure each sentence begins with a capital letter and ends with an end mark. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to let you choose, okay? If you want to rewrite the paragraph, that's fine. If you don't, choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Think of 5 words that end in Y, a consonant and a Y, and change them to plural, okay? So I might do, I don't know, I'm on the spot. I can't think of a word right now that ends in a Y. A consonant and a Y. I'm looking around our classroom to see if I can find a word that ends in a consonant and a Y. See, it's kind of a hard one. So I don't know if you're going to want to do that, but I'll leave that up to you. If you can think of words, how about No, safety. That is a consonant and a Y, but we wouldn't change safeties. Safeties? I don't know. Safeties? Safeties is a word. So yeah, you could say, I'm looking at our rules poster. Safety would change to safety. So you would drop the T, or drop the Y and add IES. So I don't know if safeties is a word. We have to look at that one. So again, you can either copy the writing, you can copy the whole paragraph again, or if you can think of words that end in a consonant and a Y, then just change those to plurals. Okay, you choose. Totally up to you. All right, you guys. So we are done with our workbooks. We are going to do our gratitude calendar. Yesterday, I made a space in my house for exercise. Okay, so I'm really happy I did that. I'm very grateful, and I'm adding that to my gratitude calendar. And I'll tell you what, probably today, if you bring your gratitude calendars and some of them are filled out, then I am going to do a drawing for a really beautiful calendar for you guys to have at our next pickup when you guys come back from fall break. All right, you guys, I will see you at our Zoom. I forgot to tell you, and I couldn't believe I forgot to tell you yesterday. Air quality is a little better today. Yay, we can see the sky. So talk to your parents about whether or not you should get outside and get some fresh air. Definitely do something to help around the house. And be kind to your brothers and sisters, boys and girls. I'll see you at our Zoom. Bye.